Welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report today for October the 2nd of 2020. Of course, my name is Samuel Adams and this is a daily gaming news podcast meant to bring you the hottest news you need to know from around the industry. Hosted on YouTube and podcast services around the world 5 days a week, it is your one-stop shop for everything you need to know. So if you enjoy the show and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and keep coming back for more. But today we have some big delays specifically in the PC gaming space, starting with hardware. The RTX 3070 has been delayed until late October, specifically launching on October the 29th. The graphics card was originally set to ship 2 weeks earlier, but NVIDIA pushed the launch back to have more cards ready on launch day. Starting at $499, the RTX 3070 is the ideal card for many people with 4K and 1440p systems. The RTX 3070 is faster than the RTX 2080 Ti and 60% faster than the RTX 2070. While we have not gotten our hands on one yet, they write at Windows Central, the RTX 3070 looks ready to earn a spot as one of the best graphics cards. Its more powerful siblings, the RTX 3080 and RTX 3090, already top the list. The delay will disappoint some people wanting to upgrade to NVIDIA's 30 series of GPUs. The launch of the 30 series has not gone smoothly so far. The 3080 sold out in practically an instant, leading to an apology from NVIDIA. The delay of the RTX 3070 is likely in place to reduce the likelihood of a similar issue. NVIDIA explains the delay in a recent post. Production of GeForce RTX 3070 graphics cards are ramping up quickly. We have heard from many of you that there should be more cards available on launch day. To help make that happen, we are updating the availability date to Thursday, October the 29th. We know this may be disappointing to those eager to purchase a GeForce RTX 3070 as soon as possible. However, this shift will help our global partners get more graphics cards into the hands of gamers on launch day. If you are waiting for the RTX 3070, make sure to grab the best motherboard and power supply for the GPU. Of course, they have a guide for that over on Windows Central. Now, the 3070 is a very significant graphics card because in terms of this holiday season, it is the most direct comparison to the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X because of its price point. And of course, on top of that, the specs that it has will still outdo a Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5, but it is going to be much more in line with what you would get. So essentially, this is your $500 piece of hardware that is available for the PC gaming space this year. Now, the RTX 3080 is kind of the future-proofed graphics card. Now, better ones will come out within the next year or two, but it is a generational leap. It is something that is really pushing the boundary of what is possible. So the 3080 is the big boy, and then the 3090 a bit overkill. But the 3070 is still going to be a fantastic card, and it's one that I'm actually considering for my build. That might be the best option for me, and I saved $200 in the process. I think that kind of thought process is something a lot of people are considering. But with that being said, the delay, how should we perceive it? Wonderful move, because the 3080 literally was gone without anybody getting a chance to really order one, and they fluctuated in and out of stock ever since the original launch. Bots are a big problem, especially in the world of PC gaming, but you can look to Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 hardware as well. Now, albeit the PlayStation 5 pre-order setup was a little bit not bot friendly because, you know, they just flipped the switch. But in the world of PC, we knew when this was coming, and so bots were able to be written that were able to order these cards instantaneously, and they're still running right now, and then scalpers will put them up on eBay, or hopefully they'll just enjoy the card for themselves, and they found a clever little way of getting one. But all of that to the side, the 3070 getting delayed is a really good move because it essentially provides an additional 2 weeks worth of stock so that instead of it selling out instantaneously, you might have a 30-second window to actually get on and order one. Now, I'll probably roll the dice and see if I can get a 3070. I'm kind of leaning towards that. Now, I'll have to look at the specs compared to the 3080, but considering that I play on a single PC setup at 1440p and I just want some ray tracing at 60 FPS, that's kind of my goal. And I'm currently running a 1070 Ti. It seems like a pretty solid card to upgrade to. Now, of course, if you are going for an Xbox or a PlayStation 5, still a fantastic option. But if you do want the 3070, it's coming out 2 weeks later than originally intended. Now, staying in the PC gaming space, Blizzard has delayed World of Warcraft Shadowlands until later this year for additional polish and to balance and iterate. Blizzard has announced that World of Warcraft's Shadowlands expansion, which was originally due to land on the 27th of October, will be delayed until sometime later this year. Announcing the news in a statement on the World of Warcraft website, Blizzard explained that while it had made significant progress iterating and polishing the core gameplay and features of Shadowlands, the zones, campaign, level up questing, and story are all ready to share. It says it felt additional work was still needed in other areas. Quote, as everything started coming together, the developer wrote, and we've been listening to the building upon your feedback, it's become clear we need a little more time for additional polish and to balance and iterate on some interlocking pieces, particularly those related to the end game. It calls Shadowlands one of the most intricate expansions we've created yet, and says the challenge of turning the end game was compounded by the team having to work from home. Blizzard has a commitment to quality, it continued. We believe Shadowlands will be something special, and we've heard from many of you who feel the same. We need this extra time to ensure that Shadowlands will live up to its full potential. Blizzard says it's still in the process of determining the right new date to launch, and will be releasing a Shadowlands pre-patch on the 13th of October. This will supposedly lay the groundwork for the expansion, introducing revamped character leveling, new player experience on Exile's Reach, as well as various new character customization options. A pre-launch event in which players must defend Azeroth against a resurgence of the Scourge will run closer to Shadowlands' release. World of Warcraft's Shadowlands is its 8th major expansion and introduces the titular resting place for every mortal soul, virtuous or vile, that has ever lived. In more practical terms, that means 5 new zones for players to explore: Ardenweld, Maldorokes, Revendreth, the Maw, and Bastion, home of angelic soul guides, the Kyrians. Now, of course, I'm not really into World of Warcraft, but it's always been a game that I like to throw up on a second monitor while I am playing Halo or something. I enjoy watching people play World of Warcraft. And if there's one thing I've learned from hundreds of hours of passively listening to World of Warcraft in the background of my work, it is that if the end game is not good, then the expansion falls to the wayside very, very quickly. And I think the biggest part of this statement here is that they're improving the end game, because that's really the meat of an expansion in World of Warcraft. The first little leveling period right there is important because it hooks people, but then you've got to reel them in. The end game is a really important element of this title. And on top of that, you can still say the same about stuff like Destiny 2. The most recent Destiny expansion did not have a great end game, and so therefore, even after the hype of it going free to play, and for it coming to Xbox Game Pass and all these other big announcements, you still don't really have tons of people that are getting on board with it in the world of streaming and content creation, because the end game isn't really there. It's very repetitive. And so we will see when this game actually comes out, but I'm looking forward to watching more Shadowlands. Of course, WoW is not for everybody. I certainly don't like playing it, but there's something very cathartic about it actually, existing and being there, doing its thing. But moving on, Dirt 5 saves will not transfer from PS4 to PS5. Quote, currently on Xbox, all progress can be carried over between generations, Codemasters confirmed in a tweet. On PlayStation, your Playgrounds creations can be carried over, but other game progress, career, currency, saved liveries cannot. If that changes, we'll let you know, end quote. This is not the first time PlayStation players are seeing this with the upcoming generation. Earlier this week, it was confirmed that Yakuza Like a Dragon players will not be able to continue their progress on PlayStation 5 if they start playing on PlayStation 4. With Yakuza, there is a 4-month gap between the game's launch on PS4 and PS5. Dirt 5, which was recently delayed into November on PS4 and Xbox One, will let you upgrade for free if you want to play on a next-gen device. It's just that PS5 players will have to start again from the beginning if they upgrade. Dirt 5 and Yakuza Like a Dragon are both compatible with Microsoft's Smart Delivery service, which is why you will be able to carry on playing where you left off, no matter what hardware you're playing on. Those who purchase the Amplified Edition of Dirt 5 will get early access to the game 3 days ahead of launch on November the 3rd. So, very unfortunate, and I'm trying to read into why this is the case. It seems like there is a different format for saving files on the PlayStation 5, potentially, because otherwise I can't really fathom the problem here. Of course, PS4 games are backward compatible on PlayStation 5. You can save games on the PlayStation 5 and can pick them back up if you're playing on the PlayStation 4 game. So why is my question? Just kind of why? This seems like it's not an issue with Codemasters because, again, Yakuza Like a Dragon is having the exact same issues, while at the same time Xbox has no problems whatsoever because their smart delivery is kind of geared toward this exact situation. Now, under normal circumstances, if this was, let's say, 2023, I wouldn't really have a problem with this because you're deep into the generation at that point. However, considering we are going into a launch period where this game, specifically Dirt 5, is coming out within just a couple of days of the PlayStation 5, you are going to expect that hardcore fans will want to play the game and then they will want to upgrade to PlayStation 5. On top of that, this holiday season, let's say that your teenage McDonald's worker is saving up, buys Dirt 5 on PS4, gets a PS5 for Christmas. That's just over a month out from the launch of the PlayStation 5. Do they have to start over? What if they put hundreds of hours into the career mode? It's that kind of situation. Now, the Yakuza situation is even worse because there's a 4-month gap there, and Yakuza fans are very passionate about the game. So if they start playing in, launch day, launch time frame, that's a lot of time. You can't really wait for that like you could with Dirt 5. Again, assuming you have $500 to drop on a console on day one. So very weird situation here. Something that I really hope that Sony gets ironed out because I'm sure something can be done, hopefully. But man, that's really just a big blow for a lot of people that are trying to upgrade to the next generation hardware. And it's also worth mentioning during a launch time frame of any game, there are games that normally wouldn't be as popular, but considering that they are launch games that are taking advantage of next-gen hardware, they begin to see a very large boost. Dirt 5 is going to be one of those. In the world of Xbox, it's been a very big promotional focus, where Dirt 5 has been an example for smart delivery and for Xbox Series S gameplay. Now, PlayStation 5 has not gotten quite as in on that kind of promotion, but whether or not it's on one system being promoted or the other being promoted, it's still known as a big next-gen game, so it's going to sell very well. And that, again, poses issues with the upgrade system if people don't get the PS5 on day one. But I digress, that's happening, so get ready, because here it comes. Now, if you don't want a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, there is a much better option. The Atari VCS is finally on the way after significant delays. Pallets containing thousands of Atari VCS models are being shipped out. More than 3 years after it was officially revealed, the initial batch of finalized Atari VCS consoles are finally ready to ship. At the moment, thousands of Atari VCS units are en route from a manufacturing facility in China to the United States, where they will be sorted and sent out to Indiegogo backers, some of which pre-ordered the console back as far as May of 2018. This is an encouraging development in what has been a somewhat discouraging road for backers and onlookers. I fall into the latter category, having cut my console teeth on the Atari 2600 in the late 1980s before being drawn into the world of PCs by the way of the Commodore 64. From there, the rest is history. There were times the Atari VCS project, originally called Atari Box, looked like it would be history as well. The console was plagued by several delays and key events like the console's architect, Rob Wyatt, quitting the project amid claims he had not been paid and did not instill confidence that this day of release would ever come. That is really just the tip of the controversial iceberg. A timeline of troubled events pertaining to the reborn retro console can be found on the Atari VCS subreddit. It includes the time Atari referred to reporters at the Register as irresponsible trolls for the way an interview at GDC was portrayed in an article. It's all water under the bridge in River Raid at this point because Atari VCS consoles are finally going out, thereby shifting the focus to how it performs and whether or not it's worth forking over $250 or more for one, depending on having the model and bundled accessories. Having taken so long to make it to market though, the Atari VCS risked being overshadowed by next-gen consoles from Sony and Microsoft. In particular, it seems like a tough sell next to the Xbox Series S, which cost $300. In any event, backers will soon get their hands on the Ryzen-powered Atari VCS. The initial shipment also includes the limited edition Atari VCS 800 Collector's Edition model, of which there are 6,000 numbered and authenticated units. Also, for the first time, Atari shared a bunch of assembly line photos on Medium that depict the Collector's Edition model. There is also a photo of pallets stacked with thousands of Atari VCS consoles waiting to be trucked to the port. And so this is tricky for me because as somebody who likes history and as somebody who likes gaming history specifically, I love the look and I love the significance of the Atari VCS in 2020 because it shows a legacy hardware creator trying to get in on the game. They're trying to get back in to the console battle, and they're just not going to be able to do it. And I'll tell you one thing that really convinces me of that, and that is the fact that if you look at this piece of hardware, you see not only, of course, the internals and whatnot, but if you look at this specific picture here, let me try and get one that's kind of lined up. There you go. If you look at this picture here, this looks like it very well could be one of those retro boxes that you play that is filled with old games that cost $100 at Sam's Club. They cost $50 at a GameStop. This doesn't look like a next-gen console. Now, don't get me wrong. I adore the wood paneling. I love the vibe of it all. I like the fact that this exists. But in terms of this being something that can legitimately compete with next-generation hardware, there's no way. You can't. At $250, this thing is greatly underpowered as compared to the $300 Xbox Series S. It was a timing issue. If this had come out in 2018, would have been a much different story, but I just don't think this was the right place at the right time. Now, in terms of aesthetic, this could be something that you add to your living room console setup just because, man, it looks really cool. They have the Xbox style light up front panel here. Love that. It looks like a really neat retro futuristic kind of piece of hardware, but I still don't know if it's going to be the saving grace that Atari needs to jump back into the world of consoles. Now moving on, GOG is going to sell Epic Game Store titles through its Galaxy app. It's letting testers buy titles like Mortal Shell and The Outer Worlds. When CD Projekt started testing GOG Galaxy 2.0 last year, it said its goal was to create a launcher where you could have all your PC games in one place. The company is taking a significant step towards fulfilling that promise with a new beta feature that allows its users to purchase a selection of Epic Game Store titles, including a handful of exclusives, directly through the GOG Galaxy client. The agreement builds on the Epic Game Store integration GOG announced in July. Some of the EGS titles you can buy through GOG Galaxy at the moment include Mortal Shell, The Outer Worlds, and MechWarrior 5. One reason to purchase those games through GOG Galaxy is that they're covered by its generous refund policy. CD Projekt gives you 30 days to get your money back on a game, no matter how much you have played it. By contrast, you have 14 days to ask Epic for a refund. You also can't return games you have played for more than 2 hours total. Presumably, the company's end goal is to add Steam and Origin Store integrations down the line, but it did not provide a hint as to when that might happen. In the meantime, check your email to find out if you can access the feature. So first and foremost, if you are playing on PC and you do not have GOG Galaxy 2.0, please install it and please log in with your accounts, because it unifies not only PC games, but PS4, PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Xbox Series games. You are able to unify your entire collection and see exactly what you have. And, of course, organize it by the most recently played, because it constantly updates all accounts. It is a godsend in a world where you have 18 launchers on your PC. It's very, very nice. And of course, you can add them manually as well. And so this next step is going to complicate things a bit, but it would be nice for GOG to be the one-stop shop where you log in, this app boots up, and you buy whatever game you want. And of course, everybody gets paid. It's not taking any kind of business from Epic or from Steam. It's just being a third party. In the same way that if you're looking for an Xbox Series X, you can buy one directly from Microsoft, or alternatively, you can go to GameStop, Walmart, Best Buy, Target. That's the kind of option that I see here. Now, GOG is a fantastic platform with a wonderful UI. Highly recommend diving in and giving it a look. But you can launch Apex Legends through the service as well, and crossplay beta arrives on October the 6th. This summer, EA announced that crossplay was coming to Apex Legends. Now we have a date. Crossplay will arrive in beta on October the 6th as part of the Aftermarket Collection event. Crossplay will allow players to join friends on Xbox One, PS4, and Origin, as well as Steam when it launches and Switch when Apex Legends lands there. You'll use the Find Friend tool to search for usernames across platforms and send friend requests. You'll be able to see all friends in a menu that shows which platform they are on, and in-game voice chat will work across platforms. During this crossplay beta, please party up with your friends on all platforms, put the system through its paces, tweet, Reddit, let us know if you're enjoying crossplay or what we should improve, wrote Chad Grenier, Apex Legends game director. Now, I wouldn't want to be a PC player partnering up with a Switch player per se, but hey, it's cool that it happens because of the fact that you essentially have this group of friends, a hypothetical if you will. One has a PC, one has a PS4, one has an Xbox One, and then one has a Nintendo Switch. You're able to get all of these people playing together. Well, I mean, technically Apex Legends is a 3-player game, but for the purposes of this example, you understand what I mean. You essentially have the ability to play with anybody if you do so choose. Now, you can just play with PC, you can just play with PS4, doesn't really matter, but it's very cool that it is possible. So again, that beta launches on October the 6th, and finally to round out today's show, Steve and Alex from Minecraft are the latest characters coming to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The second fighter in the Fighters Pass Volume 2 has arrived. Of course, this is going to be the second in the Fighter Pass Volume 2 DLC that's available for $29.99, following Min Min from ARMS. There are 4 new fighters yet to be announced for the DLC. In the short presentation, a brief preview showed off Steve in action, playing in a special Minecraft-themed stage. Players will be able to show off and play as Alex or Steve, and swap to Enderman or a zombie as alternatives. The game's director, Masahiro Sakurai, explained following the announcement that Steve and the blocky Minecraft style presented a big challenge for the team. He said, "We have to rework all our existing stages so the blocks can be placed in them." There will be a broadcast on Saturday, October 3rd at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time that dives deeper into their playstyles. That's when the release date for the characters will be announced too. If for some reason you have not jumped into the game yet, the First Fighters Pass, available as an add-on for $24.99, added a slew of interesting characters to its already packed roster. You'll get Dragon Quest XI's Hero, Banjo-Kazooie, Byleth from Fire Emblem Three Houses, Joker from Persona 5, and Fatal Fury's Terry Bogard. You can rewatch the announcement, and you can skip to $29.42 for the action. This is cool. I don't really care either way. Obviously, Microsoft and Nintendo have a relationship that exists, and so Minecraft is a big game on every platform. Specifically, the Nintendo Switch, since it is geared towards younger players, does traditionally have more Minecraft players. So to see Steve getting into Smash Bros. Makes sense, because everybody knows Steve from Minecraft. So there you have it. That is what is coming to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. But that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. If you enjoyed today's show, drop me a like down below and let me know what you think about everything we talked about here today. But specifically, how do you feel about the big NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3070 delay? Are you looking forward to getting a new card, or are you going to be getting a console when they launch at the beginning of November? Would love to hear your thoughts. But until next time, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon, and peace.